Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the audience for staying at this late, after lunch. Just a few comments. It's a sustainability summit, so I'm going to be using my mobile phone. I apologize. So if you see me stuck to my screen, I'm not sending text messages anywhere. We have believed so far that the climate change was moving at a certain rate. It seems that it is moving much faster than we know. I don't think I'm saying something new, and it is becoming gradually a climate crisis. It is moving much faster than we ever thought. COP27 was, I think, there was a big discussion about how fast it moves. I come from a risk, a safety, catastrophe domain. So I'm gonna try to look at, I'm not gonna look at things from my own perspective that are related to climate crisis. From a societal safety perspective, we identify aging, climate change, and security as major changes for the Western civilizations. I'm under the impression that it's no longer only Western civilization, but it is all around the world. One way or another, as I'm gonna, as you know, like my predecessors just said, I think they're related to that. They're affected or they are influenced by migration. As a professor in risk assessment, from a risk perspective, I dare say that we are sailing uncharted waters. As much as we have a good idea about the individual risks, for example, the climate risks, we're still making steps about complex risks, about combined risks, and their impacts to other sectors. So to make it clearer to our audience, research in the impacts of climate-related catastrophes is still emerging. We don't know that. We cannot make predictions for sure. I came this morning from the island of Cyprus. I came from a country that it is predicted to be deserted by a percentage larger than 70% in the foreseeable future, in the next few decades. And this is alarming from a climate perspective. The EU, the minister said that very well before, is making concerted efforts to remove policies and practices that contribute to climate crisis. I'm gonna talk about migration as well in a minute. They have established mission boards like the climate adaptation. I'm proud to be a member of that. And they are doing efforts to promote to the public and the local communities this message. They're setting ambitious aims and goals for reducing carbon emissions, for replacing fossil fuels, but at the same time, we have to realize that the EU's contribution to the global problem of climate change is indeed very minor. It is less, the contribution of the EU to climate crisis is, I think, in the less than 10% globally. So from a climate perspective, I think I have depressed you enough and I have painted a very grim picture so far. And let me go to something different and I will try to combine them. Migration. What about migration? How is this interrelated? More and more we see the issue of migration in the political agenda, especially at times closer to elections. We see polarized societies, especially those affected by the phenomena of the climate crisis, especially. Just a few facts. In 2021 alone, disasters led to over 23 million internal displacements. And according to the World Bank, without early and concerted climate and development action, over 210 million people would become internal climate migrants by 2050. Why are societies polarized? Why? We see that on one hand, communities, especially those in climate-challenged areas, are on the receiving end, the migration receiving end. Greece in 2015, Cyprus recently, and at the moment, they received and they are receiving unprecedented numbers of migrants putting state resources at strain. The Russian invasion to Ukraine, unfortunately, adds up to yet more challenges. So on one hand, we have Europe that is aging fast, and this affects or will affect its economic growth significantly. Is this reversible with the current growth of aging? With the European population aging faster than before? Perhaps not. So can we utilize migration and the younger generation it brings in order to rejuvenate the employment market? Can migration provide this much needed boost to the social insurance market? Are our European citizens educated to these changes? Are we moving towards a more balanced EU approach where countries not immediately affected will provide a support net to the front entrance countries? Can we optimize the asylum process? Is there a vision on how to integrate those that will be allowed to stay? Is there an education and continuous education plan to educate local communities and migrants on how to add to the prevention and adaptation of climate? And building on what Titus just said, can we utilize novel schemes like the contract citizen? Sorry, I finished with questions, but I'm an academic like you, so